What have I been waiting for? Oh, I can run, but I can't hide the feelings that I've had my heart broken into. But something's different next to you. It's like my soul is set on fire. But oh, I'm starting to feel tired. 'Cause I can run, but I can't hide the feelings that I know I can't keep bottled up inside. And all I wanna know is, are you ready for the ride? What have I been waiting for? Oh, I can run, but I can't hide the feelings that I know. 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 'Cause I can run, but I can't hide the feelings that I know I can't keep bottled up inside. The feelings that I know.
Hello, everyone. It is so great to see so many faces, and then also to invite people from Facebook and from YouTube watching this live with Meredith that we do every Tuesday. I am so excited to get to be talking to you all tonight and teaching you and answering your questions. So kind of just like a what's going on, because there are many people that join us every week who are a part of Accelerated and join here on Live with Meredith on Tuesday nights. This is a time where I get to teach my students that have all, joined on in, and get to teach them like a lesson and also answer their questions that they send me using Discord. And we have invited people from all of our different platforms to get to see what just goes on. So as a welcome, we had a Learn How to Sign giveaway. And I just now realized I'm wearing the shirt that I was going to be giving away. I put it on and I didn't instead bring it up here. So this is gonna be the giveaway. As you guys can see, we're having this sunset shirt, and it's this I love you hand. It's so cute. So if you can, please sign up to do that so we can give that away very soon. So I mentioned before about Accelerated. I'm gonna kind of tell you guys that here in just a second. How are we doing on the signups? Are we good? No, okay. So I'll go on and talk about whenever I mention the word Accelerated, what that is. And that is just a group of people who have signed up to be a part of our program that want to be involved in learning ASL and the community connected with it. And I think that's really cool that we have a live, thriving community of signers who are wanting to learn. And so that's what we do every week, is Tuesday night, 8:30 Central Time. We jump on in and we get to learn together. But then throughout the week, we have chats, and they can take classes that are on demand. And with all of that, it is on our website. You can find it at learnhowtosign.com. All right. So now in this time, we are getting ready to launch our homeschool program that is starting on August 1st. And on that, we have a 30% discount that's called Early Bird 30. So if you've ever thought about joining Accelerated before, this is a great time to do that. This homeschool program that's launching in August, it has so much to be able to provide to families in guiding them through how to learn together, where it's not like you're just like picking random videos. It is guiding you through with you and your child learning together. And it's awesome. It's been a lot of work, and that is going to be starting on August 1st. And so the code EarlyBird30 is going to be the code that you put in for that. And then it's included within Accelerated. That's what's really, really awesome about it. So some of you guys have maybe seen this before, are kind of interested. This is a great, great, great time to do it because of that discount code. All right, so do we have the giveaway ready now? I think so. Close to it. We're populating it right now. So on our website, there's also all these different shirts and stuff like that. And this one I personally love. I think it's so pretty. This kind of like sunset style. All right. Yeah, he's got it up and running. So let's see who the winner of the sunset shirt is. Patricia, awesome. I'm so excited for you, Patricia. We will be getting in contact with you to get that sent your way. Awesome. So we'll probably be talking, if you guys have any questions about what the homeschool program is or Accelerated, please put that in the comments. We want to be able to answer that because it's probably like, if you've never heard about it before, it might be kind of confusing. And so we want to be able to answer all your questions. As a reminder, those of you who are a part of Accelerated right now, this Thursday is our chat. I will be leading the chat this Thursday night, so I hope to see you there, all right? Okay, so moving on to today's lesson. Well, here we are in the middle of summertime, right? And what that means is typically traveling and vacations. Now, many of you just, decide, pick a spot, schedule it, and then, there's things to plan. Yes, you might be the planner, all right? Or maybe you're the one who just shows up and you're like, what are we doing today? What do I need to bring with me, right? I am the planner, all right? I am the person who has the schedule, everything figured out. And with that all being figured out, I decide on where we're going. Whether it be like this summer, we're going to Yellowstone, or which spots we're going to be camping at, and then what we'll see along the way. Are there museums along the way, and what kind of places that we want to eat, right? What are the popular places? So all of this trying to figure out. Well, you might be one of those families that travel and you enjoy going to maybe Disney or Universal, or maybe you go to museums or to different kind of attractions, all right? Now, what I want us to think before we move on is just pause for a second and think of these places that we go to on vacation. And many of them probably have contact with people, right? Interactions. What does communication look like for you? Just face-to-face talking, right? Probably, yeah. Think about people who are deaf. They use ASL. What would it look like for them? Yes, they go day to day with like making contact with people and just getting through just the norm. But what about those places where it might be a performance at a theme park or a going to museum and they have, you know, those like audio, like self-guided? Well, what does that look like for those people who are deaf and hard of hearing who use ASL? Well, what I want to do is kind of share what options there are for people whenever they go, and also the challenges with it. Because if we're being honest, there are challenges. All right. So this first one that I want to talk about is museums. All right. So Brian and I went to New York, 7 years ago. Yeah. For those of you who don't know, Brian, my husband, he sits right over here. He does all of, there's his hand. There's his hand. He does all things techie. So whenever I look over, that's who I'm talking to. It's not like some imaginary person that I'm like, hey. So yeah, about 7 years ago, and we went to the 9/11 memorial. And when we went in, they gave everybody, as you entered, this self-guided device. And what I thought was so cool is that it was a like touch digital kind of screen with like a video on there, and you could see things of like where it was guiding you. And so here I am, and I'm like playing around with it and stuff. And then I see ASL interpreter option. And I thought, okay, that is pretty awesome, right? Here it is. You've got, everybody else has this, but you can choose that as an option. And so you can kind of see here, like on their website, if you scroll down, like whenever you go and visit, these are some things that you need to be aware of, stuff like that. Well, as you can see here, they have the ASL option where it says this tour provides an overview of the events of 9/11 and its aftermath, as told through personal stories from 9/11 victims, survivors, first responders, and others. The devices are available at the information desk in the museum concourse lobby. So that's the device. But this is where things get a little bit more challenging. But I will say this is a great option. So this is services available by request, sign language interpreter. So ASL interpretation is available free of charge. I want you to notice that it is not that they have to pay, right? It is free of charge for guided tours and public programs or events by request with 2 weeks notice. That's where the challenging part comes in, right? Is you and I could probably schedule a guided tour, honestly, probably walking up to the front desk and do the next guided tour. Maybe we would have to schedule it the day before, right? If we're being honest, like there's some planning, but if you want a guided tour, you could probably get it within 24 hours. 2 weeks notice. Think of the planning that has to be involved on a vacation to decide the day that you're going, the time that you're going to that museum, to that memorial, all right? And then have an interpreter hired to come, all right? What is awesome is that they provide interpreters, right? Many places don't even provide that. Okay, and then it would be you have to advocate for yourself. Like, no, I need an interpreter, and, you are required to hire one and those sort of things. But 2 weeks prior. And so those are some things that whenever planning vacations, it just has to be considered. All right. There are some options that you see online, like this one that we saw from a museum in LA where they have the dinosaur exhibit and it's interpreted. All right, so you can kind of see here where this, where Lavender is introducing the dinosaur hall, all right, and going to share about all the places that you can see in Dinosaur Hall, and it's interpreted. That is pretty awesome that is something that is offered. But notice, this is a museum in LA, right? It's not a museum that's in a smaller town, because you have to think of cost, right? You have to think of all of these things that are involved. And so that is something that these museums have to consider, right? When they're adding this. I mean, that takes a lot of work. Those were 3 interpreters who, had to be hired out and then offer this as a service to people who are deaf and hard of hearing. All right. Now, you can find that on Natural History Museums of LA County, and it is more than 20 minutes where you can go and watch that and learn more about dinosaurs, all right? And then also the interpreters as well. So there's a little bio about them. Okay, so maybe you're not a museum family. Maybe you like to go and ride roller coasters, right? So if you think of your smaller ones within your town, they probably are not offering interpreting services, right? But within larger theme parks such as Disney, such as Universal, they offer interpreting services. On the website for Universal, this is kind of what it states, and this is the title of it, all right? Guests with hearing disabilities, all right? So right there, maybe something could be said about deaf and hard of hearing, or those who need services. We've kind of talked about the word disabilities before. Disabilities isn't a word that deaf people want labeled as, right? They don't view themselves as disabled. Okay, so anyways, that's the title of it. And then it goes on, available assistance around Universal Studios in Hollywood, all right? There's assistive listening devices for guests who are hard of hearing and provided at guest relations free of charge. For guests with mild to moderate hearing loss, amplified headsets or handsets are provided at all phone locations. And this is where it goes on. With 1 week notice, sign language interpreting services will be made available in Universal Studios Hollywood at no charge. To arrange the sign language interpreting services, contact guest relations. So as you can kind of understand with all of that, what did it say? 1 week notice. Honestly, if you're planning that kind of trip, you probably have an idea of which parks you're going to. You might be a fly by the seat of your pants type of person, but this involves planning. When we went to Disney, I pulled up, because I was interested, on what interpreting, services were available and if we would be able to get to see an interpreter, right? Well, they have specific scheduled days for each park. So you are required on a specific day, say Monday at Magic Kingdom, all right, to go that day, because that's when the interpreters are available. But you have to do it upon like request. You can't just like show up and expect them to be there because there are so many shows. You have to know which parade they're going to be going to. Are they going to the 1 o'clock or the 3 o'clock parade, right? They're not going to both. So all of those planning has to be done around what is available and what services are offered. All right, so this is one, I think it was at Disneyland. I thought it's so sweet. If you look it up, they are just wonderful interpreters. There was one that I've seen done from Animal Kingdom as well, where they do it with, the Lion King. Oh, it is amazing to watch the performance for that one. All right, maybe you are not a get up and go type of person on your vacations. Maybe you are, you know what? I am relaxing, all right? And we are going to movies and we are going to like hang out. Well, let's think of movies for a second, all right? You and I pick a time, right? Schedule it, buy the ticket, okay? Think of what is required when going to see a movie for a person who is deaf or hard of hearing. Well, you have to go to a place that offers the closed caption glasses or the closed caption kind of like clip-on one that goes into your cup holder, all right? But many times those don't work. And this right here is a testament to that, all right? Watch this.
Going to see Inside Out to not seeing it, and here's why. Trying different theater.
Tried 3 different movie theaters. They either didn't have them, they didn't work, or the guy said they weren't even accessible with the movie, and come back at 12 o'clock tomorrow with the one showing with the closed caption.
This ticket to confirm how can with me this better. I like me take a bath. Have her paper car my paper. I like.
Okay, I feel her frustration. Like, she just wants to see a movie and all of these devices are broken, doesn't work, we don't have one, blah, 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 blah. Like she said, 2024, right? What about open captioning on movies, right? Many of us do it in our homes anyway, right? We do it on our TV. I'm sure there is a large group of people who would just say, can we just put it on the bottom of the screen just already? I don't think it would bother anybody. But even if that can't be done, can we just make sure that these things are working, right? That they're not just like left there to be broken and then forgotten about. I personally, whenever I was an ASL teacher, did a section about like closed captioning and the now like interpreting captioning over in the corner. So we talked a lot about this in our unit, and then this was my push for being the cool teacher, is we scheduled a movie day with a local theater where we picked whatever popular appropriate movie was out that time. And I took all of my students to the movie theater and we saw how the devices work. And then we got to watch a movie, right? Well, one of my coworkers, her husband is deaf. And so, of course, she came with me and it was his day off. So he came and they gave him the little screened device, right? It didn't work. There, with all of my ASL students, it didn't work. Also, the open captioning on the screen that was up there just during the middle of the movie, just stopped. And my students were like, what happened? What happened? That is life. Like it happens all the time. So I can just imagine the frustration of just like wanting to go to a movie. And you know, what did it say? Oh, you can come tomorrow for the open captioning at 12, right? Well, probably, you know, that's a work day. So there are just things that it's like, oh, that's really frustrating. Those are things that are struggles that people experience. Now, what is cool though is just recently, all right, just like recently, like yesterday, this weekend, the Jesus movie was released in ASL. And my mom shared with me that she went with a group in her hometown, and they went to go and see it together. I mean, of course she cried. It is just incredible. This is a trailer of it. It is still out in some theaters through this Thursday. So look in your hometown to see if it is available, and I'm sure it's going to be released for probably, you know, purchase very soon. I can't wait to see the whole entire thing. It just is incredible. I know that some people have shared on Discord as well how much they loved it. So you guys can kind of find all of that information by looking at your local theater. All right. So all of this just kind of encompasses like the need for additional planning, right? In all honesty, and things just to figure out for vacations for people who are deaf and hard of hearing. There are challenges along the way, but thankfully there are options, but there need to be more, right? We need to continually add more. And so I hope to see that happen. All right. So we actually just finished up last Thursday our 101 intensive, and our 101 intensive was 2 hours on a Monday and a Thursday night of practicing ASL and the beginning stages of all that and building your skills really, really fast. Well, what ended up happening is we had question after question after question after question, and we tried to answer them all, but we couldn't. And so what we told them is we said, okay, we will take all of the leftover questions and we're going to put them in live with Meredith. So those of you who were in the intensive, this is your time that I'm finishing answering all of your questions. But if you have questions now that you're thinking about, especially those of you who are joining on YouTube and on Facebook, please, please, please share your questions so that way I can answer them. But in the time being, I'm going to answer the ones that we have from this past Thursday's intensive. Okay. All right. So this is from Beth. How do 911 calls work with an interpreter? So this is based on video relay services, and Darla, who is my mom, she's an interpreter and used to interpret with video relay. And she was kind of just like sharing like how a hearing person uses an interpreter with a deaf person and how video relay calls work. So sitting at a screen, here we are with like the device, you know, attached to the ear, microphone, and then up on the screen pops up a new phone call, all right? And it's directed to 911. What happens? Immediately that pops up on the screen and it notifies another interpreter in the office to either stop their call, transfer it, or get off break, or they're sitting there waiting for another call and come and sit down next to the other interpreter. So there are two interpreters there because a 911 call is made. All right, it is made directly to 911. The deaf person there is on the screen communicating in their home, wherever it is, with, or, you know, on their phone, and then communicating, voicing, staying on the line, all right, until they are told to get off. I could venture to guess that even when officers, ambulance, fire department are there within the home, the interpreter will stay until they are told by the deaf person done, right? That they are free to disconnect. But it is interpreted with these two interpreters the entire time until it's disconnected, until they take them wherever they need to go or whatever needs to be done. So that is how that works within 911 calls for VRS. Okay, from Susie. What types of sentences begin with you and end with you? All questions. So this is based in that closing signal, you, right, you, this sort of thing that we've talked about. So it's whenever you are referring to you, you know, the person that you're talking to, and it is based on textbook ASL, right? Whenever you guys took English and, you know, for me, it was in third, fourth grade, it was Shirley English was the book like that we used to do grammar. This is the same idea. It's like the grammatical side of ASL. But do you and I like talk a little bit different than what our grammar was based off of within elementary school? There are probably some nuances that are like changed within there. That's the same idea. You see that closing signal, you, being used because that is like formal textbook ASL, right? But do you see it go away in like casual conversations? Yes. But this is used whenever it's you're talking to you, that person, right? Or you all, whatever that might be, okay? Okay, this next question from Susie. Does the sign beach have variations? Yes, it has so many variations. There's beach, I've seen one where it's like, even like this, so many variations of beach. So yes, there are a lot of variations that you will see out there. What I will say is use the one that is in your area. All right. Don't just say, well, my teacher taught me this, and in your community, it's like this, right? Use the one that your community is using because those are those regional signs. All right. Okay, this next one from Iwani. I always feel uncomfortable signing responses. Will it get better? Yes, yes, yes. It will get better with practice, right? You have to sign with other people. You can't just What does this mean? It means receiving information, right? Through your eyes, like hearing. We are hearing people, but here, receiving information through our eyes, through signing, right? So we have to get our hands up and sign it back, right? That's why if it's something that you feel nervous about, on Thursday nights, we have our chats, and then every other Friday, we have chats with other people as well that you can start practicing before you go out into the community and sign more. But what the best way to improve is signing with others. All right. That's where you're going to see the improvement. Not just here watching the videos, but moving your hands, right? Okay, next question from Susie. What is different about signing a song versus signing anything else? Whew, a lot, okay? You have to think of songs, they're like poetry. Well, poetry, you have to take out the meaning, right? And sign what the meaning is, all right? Yes, yes, yes. Can we like sign out like words? Yes, it will happen. But the difference is pulling out the meaning and then producing it to flow with the music. So that can be seen from the person who's receiving it, right? To feel the music, right? If a song is like, you want your signing to be like, versus if it's, you know, a rock song, you're like moving and signing, like your body needs to match with the music itself, okay? All right, next question. Where can we learn the roots origin of word in ASL, just out of interest? So that is like so much to unpack. What I will say is first find out like the history to understand like where it's coming from. I would suggest a book called Deaf Community in America. Deaf Community in America. And that book goes through the beginning up until now about ASL here in America. And you'll see where the root is from, and a lot of it comes from France, all right? And so if you look back to old French sign, you'll see a lot of similarities. And so that's where the root is from, connected back to that. So that's where I would start like, you know, digging into and finding things to see like if you're really wanting to kind of like improve upon just like the understanding of ASL. All right. So now let's see some questions from YouTube and from Facebook. Hello, learn how to sign. Question, does it take time to get your faces to go with the signing? I forget to make the faces. Yes, it takes time. What I will say is like the natural like expression of like, that should be something that, you know, you should feel natural with, but with like, the WHs or versus yes, no questions, doing those sort of things. Yes, that takes time. And what I would tell you to do is practice that beforehand in like different types of questions and like look in a mirror, record yourself, practice that way. To see what your face is actually doing, because you might feel like you're doing your eyebrows down, but maybe you're just going versus for it to be clear. Great question. Okay, I'm Moni. Hi, learn how to sign. Can you recommend where to meet other hard of hearing people in Westchester County? I've reached out to New York school for the deaf, but they never responded to my email. Okay, so the school for the deaf, great contact. I think that was a very wise choice. Unfortunately, they didn't answer. So I'm sorry. This is what I would think to contact in my area. contacting a local deaf church or an interpreting agency to see what things are going on in the area. All right. Deaf churches have many events, things going on that you can meet people. Of course, attending a Sunday morning service, things like that. But then the other side is interpreting agencies not only provide interpreting services, but also community involvement. And they might have specific like days in the park or silent dinners or whatever it might be. So that's what I would check with. That's a great question. And I hope that you get in contact with somebody. That would be great. I think that that is the best thing that you can do, is to go out there and meet and socialize. All right. Do we have any more? Okay. How do you sign cake pop? All right. So there are variations of the sign cake. You have like cake, cake. So your area of whatever that is. And then I would personally fingerspell pop. So I would do something like a cake pop, cake pop. That's probably what I would do. I wouldn't like necessarily do the, unless there needed to be some description added. If they were like, I have no idea what you're talking about, you want to put pop into your cake, like what does that mean? Right. So great question. All right. Question: if I don't know how to sign a sign, can I fingerspell? Okay, I love that. I love narwhals. So when you don't know a sign, yes, fingerspelling is fine. You could do some acting to try to get it, or pointing or whatever, but fingerspelling is definitely beneficial. So sign and clarify that to let them know like, I don't know it. So that way they can give you the sign, and then you can learn a new sign along with it. Okay, Susie, is it ever an issue if you already tend to be expressive with your hands as a hearing person speaking? Does it confuse the person you are signing to? Okay, guilty. My hands are so expressive all the time. I mean, it's not like that, but that has been told to me many times. I remember one time I was sitting down chatting with like the principal in his office or whatever, and I was just talking and talking. He goes, "You really do like use your hands." And I was like, "Yes, I do." Like, but it's being like expressive with your hands. It honestly, in the deaf community, it is not a problem. You want to be expressive, to be seen, right? Like to communicate. So I think that that's important to remember, that don't become embarrassed by it. Like it's a language. Get it out there. Let yourself be understood, and you'll see that, you know, it's more engaging. You're understood, and you feel like you're more involved. So, all right, is there a sign for contrast from Dawn? Opposite, contrast. Yep, very good. All right. Kara, do people with glasses need to exaggerate the eyebrows up and down? So I personally wear glasses. It really a lot during the winter time because my eyes just like dry out. And so it's just easier for me to wear glasses. And I am understood. And mine have thicker rims like around them. I don't have to go. It's still understood. You can see the forehead. Even if like the eyebrows really can't be seen because they're like super thick, you can see the movement, right? Just by like the crinkles in my forehead. Okay. Guys, I forgot. I never told you guys before the reason that I'm simcomming. Some of you might be hard of hearing, might be deaf, right? And here I want to be signing to benefit both hearing, hard of hearing, and deaf. So I know that in videos, I'm not doing that because it's not really ASL structure. But whenever I'm in a live setting right now, SimComm is so important to be able to benefit both hearing, deaf, hard of hearing. So I just kind of wanted to share that. And I hope that it's benefiting some of you. All right, next question. What's the word for nonsense? All right, nonsense is more like silly. You might see like a forcefulness, like silly, but then a shake back and forth. Kind of like those, that's nonsense versus, right? So you can kind of like change the actions around to kind of show that. All right, let's see. Do we have some more questions? Yeah, we do. Okay. Do people need to get a degree in ASL or deaf education to become an interpreter? I think Darla, so this is going back to that Thursday night chat whenever Darla was sharing about interpreting and mentioned about a bachelor's degree. They are required to be an interpreter, or can it be a bachelor's degree in another major? So it can be in another major. That being said, the skill level of the interpreter, if they have a completely different major, might not be up to par, all right? Because you have different programs, and then, you know, they're building on the skills. There are friends of mine who are CODAs, children of deaf adults, that just have the natural ability, right? They know, they grew up, and maybe they, you know, got an English major, they were like an English major. And then later on, they became an interpreter. Yes, yes, yes. But for people who did not grow up with the language in the home, I would highly suggest that it would need to be an interpreting degree. Okay, next one. Here we go. Question. Was it easy for you to do your face with your signing? I find that very difficult. Okay, so my face with my signing, it is easy for me because I'm so expressive. But for people who just don't have the like natural like ability to do that, yes, it's a challenge. There are some things that are going to be more challenging for some people than for others. But I grew up thinking that I was going to be an actress. And so like, I'm a lot of drama. I'm a lot of expression. So this just came naturally to me. But for people who maybe that's just not like, you know, who you are, you just practice, encourage you. I don't want you to think that being like this is what you have to do. Keep it at your personality, right? Who you are. Don't change your signing style just because you see it from somebody else. You know, do you, right? So just a word of encouragement. Don't feel like it has to be like this. I am a teacher who is really excited about ASL, and forcing the teaching all of that so you would take out maybe like 10%. All right, next question. Can you do brand name like Target and Walmart? Okay, so Walmart, you see WM, Walmart, WM, and then Walmart. Target, you will see like a T sometimes like going around. Target, you see like, yes, I'm seeing some people do this as well. Target, target, yes. It has to do with like the circle in the middle. Target, target, yes. We actually have a video on those signs, pretty sure. Yes. All right, next question. I am from El Salvador and I'm learning a lot from your channel. In my country, there's a different sign language, but still ASL is used as well. Do you think it's necessary to learn both? So I think that's so interesting that ASL is still used. So I would suggest that look into your community and what is being used the most, and learn that first. And then continue on learning the next language. It would be hard. I would worry about it becoming mixed together and not knowing which is which. Yes, they're going to have like their tendencies of like, you know, hand shapes where ASL uses specific hand shapes, but maybe in El Salvador, they use different hand shapes. And so like, those are some things to be aware of, but look at what your community is using first and learn that, and then learn the next one after. All right, do we have another question? Okay, how big should your signing be when signing to a crowd? Okay, so that is a great question. Here I am signing to you all, which you are like a crowd, right? And so my signs are a little bit bigger than I would be chatting, you know, with a friend, with Sarah, a deaf friend of mine. She's in many of our videos. I chat like this. Here with you all, I'm sitting up like this and I'm signing like this. If I was on a stage, standing up, my signs, my hands would become bigger because it's presenting bigger. So depending on the situation is depending on like the space that you have. Awesome. Next question. How do I sign in plural when talking about more than one object? Okay, so I'm trying to think of an example. So maybe we're talking about like apples, all right? And see the apple. Well, if I did see apple right there, point. But if I did I showed the size of it, right? The apples, the mound of the many, many. And then this index can become a plural form, like, whoa, showing the all-encompassing of it. So pointing, singular, moving around, kind of giving that plural form. But then also additionally, like the descriptors are really important. Classifiers where it's like a person like this versus 2 versus 4, right? You can kind of change the numbers of like what your hands are showing. All right, next question. Does ASL evolve today? I understand how slang could be, but other conversations. Yes, ASL still is evolving and changing. Of course, the slang, because it's just, you know, constantly moving and everything, it's developing, especially with social media. You see it all the time where it's just like new words, new signs, things like that. The sign for telephone used to be like this. telephone. Then now it's like this mobile phone, right? So you're talking different kind of things like that, that really it's just changed because of what you see today, the technology. Used to computer, because of like the massive rooms of, but now computer because of computer brain or computer. So you see those things evolve and change, and you just have to be like in the know. If it pops up and you don't know, just say, what's that sign? Sign what? Yep. Okay, next one. Deaf people hear music through feeling, right? Sarah gave a great explanation. I can't remember which class this last week or 2 weeks ago, but she said, put on those noise canceling headphones. Blow up a balloon, turn on the music, and feel. You can feel it, all right? Wood floors, you can feel the vibrations, right? Her husband, they go out dancing sometimes, and he will just take her up to the speaker, and they just dance so she can feel the music, and he just guides her. It's so sweet. All right. So yeah, feeling. All right, next question. Have you heard of Sign Exact English for the deaf in all your years of signing? Oh, I don't want that to fall. Yep, I have. This was a class that I had to take in college, Signing Exact English. It is one, like I have so many books. It's insane. But yes, this is one that is used within school systems to teach English to deaf students for reading and writing, and it is based on English structure using ASL signs with additional what's called initialization. Really big word, where it's like, I'm trying to think of one off the top of my head. Like we use she, her, like this just pointing at a person, but like she, her, he, was versus we do past. So there's that kind of stuff that's very initialized or broken down into smaller forms for English. So yeah, it's a massive book of all the signs. All right, next question. Do public school systems pay for a deaf child's interpreter in school? Yes, they do. It is a requirement. If they do not provide an interpreter, if it is in their IEP, that is illegal. It has to be provided. There are so many ways that interpreters are being provided, whether it's like, they have devices, like interpreters that are within the home that are brought into the school, kind of like VRS, just like a different kind of like service. But then there are like larger schools that have many interpreters, or there's one deaf kid and the interpreter goes with them everywhere. It just depends on the situation, but it is a requirement and the school has to pay. Peanut butter, nut butter, nut butter. It's like click, like there on your teeth, right there, nut, butter. All right, Nick, Why do you lean forward for some of the signs but not for other? My daughters love your channel. Well, Nick, first, thank you to your daughter or your daughters. Love that they love this channel. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So leaning forward is showing for questions, all right? Like, notice I'm leaning forward, asking a question. My eyebrows are going down because it's a WH question. If it's a yes, no, I'm still gonna do the same thing. It's leaning in, asking the question, that sort of way. So that's the reason I do that. That is an ASL rule within questions. All right, how do you become faster at signing? Like how to sign fast instead of slow. Whew. So this is what I'll say is that faster is not better, all right? I do wanna say that. Right now, my signing is okay. I would consider it like I'm doing okay, but if I went, but because I'm talking at the rate of speed that I am, and then signing at the same time, things get messed up, right? And then it's like, becomes kind of awkward, signs kind of come out, or the words that I say, because I'm doing two different languages at the same time, right? And so I'm trying to go as fast as possible so I'm not talking slowly for you all and my signs can be clear, right? So there's like so many factors in it, but to sign fast, it really is based in first signing correctly. You need to practice to then produce it correctly so that way it comes out easily. You don't want to sign fast and then half of it not be understood. So that's what I would say is first practice on knowing the signs correctly first and then building on it and then socializing and forcing yourself to sign with other people. And that's where you're gonna see the improvement. All right. How do you say happy birthday? Or can you say happy birthday to my son, Breon in ASL? Happy birthday, Breon. I hope you have a great birthday. All right, how do you sign podcast? I have not personally seen a sign for podcast, so I would finger spell it. Podcasts are based in sound, so I'm trying to think like if that's a sign that's even used. So podcast is what I'd finger spell, yeah. Okay, if you don't have anyone in your area who is deaf or knows sign language, what are ways to practice ASL better? Well, fancy schmancy. If you joined Accelerated, we have Thursday night chats that we do, and then every other Friday that it's online, right? You're able to sit down, chat with other people, and build upon your skills until someday you meet a person in your community who is deaf. So that's on Thursday nights that we offer that within Accelerated, and then every other Friday. Is the sign for principal different for the sign for assistant principal? So principal, and then you have like assistant principal. Or you would even see at my school, we did AP, the assistant principal. Go to the assistant principal's office. Hi, I've been learning ASL for 4 years and want to be an ASL interpreter and your channel has really helped me. What does it look like to get in an interpreting agency? Oh my goodness. Well, that is awesome, Daniel. So this is what I would say is first, what you need to do is look at your state's requirements to become an interpreter and see what tests are required and see what your level is in comparison to what their requirements are for interpreters. If you feel like you're ready for the test, that's where you would sign up for the test and then go on from there. If you look at that and you go, ooh, you know what, I've been learning ASL, but interpreting is different, then I would look at community colleges in your area or university programs to build your skills. All right. Did we get them? Okay, I got the yes. All right, so as we kind of wrap up, I feel like a t-shirt just isn't a good enough giveaway. So for those of you who are still here, we're doing a final giveaway of, it was an annual membership to Accelerated. All right, we are giving away a membership to Accelerated. All right, so what you're gonna do is, we've got the wheel going, we've got it ready, Brian has it up and running, so we're gonna see who the winner is for a 1-year membership for Accelerated. All right. Suzanne, way to go, Suzanne. Awesome. That is great. We'll be contacting you to get you signed up for this next year. That is awesome. We just want to say thank you all for joining on in and learning with us. I mean, it is a full hour that I got to teach you and answer your questions. And I hope that for many of you who are joining on for your first time, that you would maybe come back and be a part of Accelerated, because it's a great group. To see them all here sitting in their homes, just like learning every single week, it's just so enjoyable. And I'm so fortunate that me, along with the other teachers that we now have added with Learn How to Sign, that there are so many opportunities for you to learn from me and other people as well. So thank you for this time. Don't forget the code EARLYBIRD30 for 30% off. And with that, bye.